Thank you for joining me for another episode of EETV, where we strive to bring you everything in entertainment. I'm excited about this episode because a few days ago, Eric July released the names of two characters that appears in Isom number 1. The character with the red hair that reminds me of Thor with the glowing bow, his name is Validan. And the gentleman with the business suit that we saw inside of the club is Michael Copper. Now we're going to get into this. Let's start off with Michael Copper because he appears in the book first. We first see Michael Copper inside of the club, and he's speaking with his associate, and she also has some kind of power because you'll see that she's manifesting a pink ball of energy in her hand, and you see Michael Copper also has some sort of power as well, as his eyes are glowing green, and they're looking to make some kind of deal here. And I do think they're connected with Norafrica. Now, I think that Michael Copper is looking to perhaps have a, not necessarily a business, but something that fronts as a business, but then something else that really that masks his true intentions in operations. I think that Michael Copper is going to use this club as a front for his activities of his true intentions. What his true intentions are, I think I have a clue to that as well. Now, when we get fast forward from the middle of the book, when we meet Michael Copper and his associate, and we get to the end that was somewhere near Florida, and we see Norafrica at the concert, the lyrics that Validan was singing in his song was that they'll kill every demon that's in their sight. So I do think they are on the side of good. And I think that, like I said before, because of their name, that they are the representations of the Norse and African gods. Now, with this, you see the weapon he's holding. In the panel, you can clearly see that it is a bow, but I also think that bow can serve as a melee weapon as well. Now, with that being said, I do think that at some point in the near future that Michael Copper and Validan will cross paths and they'll have a huge epic battle. I think that they are gods, and I think Michael Copper and them might either be evil gods or demons, and they're basically fighting for control of humanity again, because now if you look at like Greek mythology or any other stories in the past, how like the Greek gods and all had more contact with man, and then if you look at the stories more so today, there's less contact. So I think that has something to do with what might be happening. I think Michael Copper wants to maybe restore what is happening in the past, and he's going to go about that by nefarious means. Now, what gives me a clue as to what is happening is because when he was at the club, he's having a conversation with his associate, the young lady that can manifest the purplish, like pink energy in her hand. And this is how the conversation goes. He says, "We're wasting time," and she says, "We're exactly where we need to be. Now tell me, what do you see?" And his eyes glows green, and he said he sees a bunch of rich bozos, and bozos pretending, which is in bold, to be rich bozos. And she says exactly, and he says, "Hun?" And her response is, "You just described the entire Upper West Side of Florist Park, if not the city itself. Special people or those with influence among the stragglers who wish to be in their spots, pretending. The pulse of the town is maintained between these walls on this night." And then Michael Copper responds, "Keeping tabs on the major movers without having to be everywhere. So you're thinking about buying this place out?" And she says, "Potentially. It's more about the idea, less about the specific place. Imagine having that knowledge at your fingertips while remaining discreet. This is Michael Copper again, or blending in. This is a perfect city, but we are the visitors. Something like that would be crucial. And then her response is, if our last project showed us anything, it is that we need to start considering scale in our approaches. So they're looking to set something up where they can keep an eye on people. And this gives me the clue. I think that they are looking for accepts. And I think that they want to either exploit the accepts for their power, or perhaps drain the accepts of their powers, or if not, maybe assemble some sort of army that would serve their purposes. Now we're going to go on to the other part where we meet Validan in Norafrica. So after the concert, Validan says to his associate with the long dreadlocks, he says, "It would seem your instincts were correct. I sense them now." Now, this is after Michael Copper used his powers, so I think when he used his powers, they can sense each other. Now, the other gentleman says, "This side of the earth has always had abnormal occurrences." He's talking about the US because they're in Florida. "But I fear this is a threat that only we can truly comprehend." And then Validan says, "They were never the types to operate with such stealth. The return alone is worrisome, but the behavior change is perhaps the most daunting." Okay, the rest of the conversation goes, he says, "I disagree. Remember why we do this. Besides, there isn't much that we can do until they make a move. We just need to stay alert. We cannot risk calling in the cavalry quite yet." And then Validan responds, "I would not suggest such a thing, as it would send the realm into chaos. I do suppose if they were here, this run will assist us in nailing down their exact whereabouts. It has been a very and bold long time since we had a reason to get into the affairs of Earth. If it is time, they will soon find out." And then Validan's hand glows cyan blue, and he responds that our lyrics are not make believe, which means, remember I told you when they were singing the song that I will kill every demon within my sight. So he's looking to take Michael Copper and his associates out for spreading chaos within the realm. So that solidifies the point to me that they are gods, and then Michael Copper and them are evil demons or gods looking to take over the realm, maybe to use accepts to their end to meet their plan. So I can't wait how this is all going to figure out, and I also can't wait until we get the other books from the other characters. It has me to believe, I do think Norafrica is going to get their own book. So like we're just going to see Norafrica as their own book, and I can't wait to see how that's going to happen, because I want to see this struggle, and I also want to see what's going on with Michael Copper, because I do like comics when they follow the cloak and dagger thing, and then you get into the history and find out how they're moving in the shadows in order to complete their plan. I think this is going to be really good. I know some people have had their issues with Isom #1 because there's a lot going on, but at the same time, this is just not a beginning issue. Like, you can like it or not, it's up to your choice. I'm just telling you why I like it. I like it because not only is it an introduction to a brand new character, we also get to see the beginning of his powers and what his power set may be. And I went into that in my previous video, what are Isom's powers? But not only that, we got glimpses as to the birth of a new comic book universe. So that's why we got the introduction of so many characters. And I'm looking forward to how this is going to be. And also I like, because I'm former military army, I like Alpha Corps. I want to see where Alpha Corps goes and how they fit into this story as well. So I cannot wait to talk more about the Rippaverse and how I think things are going to transpire. and how Isom number 2 is going to take place. And I can't wait to see all the other characters like Yara and Alpha Core and Norafrica get their own series as well to branch out the Rippaverse. I do thank you for tuning in to this episode where we're able to talk a little bit more about the Rippaverse. Like, share, and subscribe if you feel like it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.